It starts with this, a person that you miss. Mine draws a blank. I wanna go back to the early days when life was an escape. Now I just wait for better days. I lost myself in your reality. Lost myself. I lost myself in your reality. Lost myself. I feel that life, according to a friend, we're all shrink wrapped in families and making ends meet, stuck in jobs we'll never leave. I never wanna be like that, so I wanna go back to my reality. Wanna go back. I wanna go back to my reality. Wanna go back. Didn't mean to sound so concerning. Am I alone in the hurt? Never followed anyone. It's so absurd. I wanna go back to my reality. Wanna go back. I wanna go back to my reality. Wanna go back. Trying to go back. Gotta go back. Gotta go
Oh man, I was supposed to push a button. Yeah, we couldn't wait. We couldn't wait through that whole song. We couldn't wait through that whole song. We just had to push the button. You know what I mean? Because it's time to go live. What's up, guys? What's going on? How you doing? What's happening? What is going on over there? My monitor's weird. I don't know. There. I don't know why my monitor was weird. You know? You ever had a monitor go weird on you before? It happened to me just now, live on the internet on a Monday. Oh, I forgot to get my little screen up here. Where did it go? Oh, there we go. We gotta get the screen up. And push this button. There we go. Push the button. Button pushed. Official. Okay. What does this all mean? I'm looking at all these numbers here. These numbers are all confusing. Okay. We'll go back over here. It is Monday the 13th of November, 2023. What's going on? What's going on in your neck of the woods? What's going on in your neck of the woods? You guys haven't mentioned it in the chat yet. You guys are supposed to tell me what's going on in your neck of the woods. Yeah, what's going on in your neck of the woods? I'm going to put that over there. What am I going to put over there? I'm going to put this. How do you open this? I'll show it to you. Right at the beginning of the show. Can I block my face and show you what it is? It is a big router bit. It's a big router bit, my guy, for a project. Big router bit for a project that's been sitting there. And I want to go work on that project. But we're not doing that right now. We're going to do that later, okay? I've got my man glitter on today because it's cold outside and the sawdust was plentiful. The sawdust was plentiful, but it is cold out there, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. The winter has come. Winter has come to Western Washington early this year. It says it's only 45 degrees out. It feels a little colder than that. It feels a little bit colder than that, but it is cold out. And I can tell you it feels a little bit colder out because we have returned from sunny Southern California. Those of you that are members and patrons and follow along on Discord, you guys know that we, this last week, went to Disneyland by the end of the week. We had a couple days in Disneyland, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We returned Saturday night. Actually, we returned Sunday morning. We got to the house here at 1 a.m. and didn't get to bed until 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. So a little bit late night adventure there. A little bit late night adventure time there, traveling. Highlights from the trip. I will likely post the video at some point. The highlights of the trip. Although I will say, I'll give you guys a little peek behind the curtain today for the 133 members and the 124 patrons. And Replay Team 6, who of course is going to leave a comment. Replay Team 6 checking in, right? We flew down and we encountered many obstructions along the way, you guys. A short trip, but a lot of hiccups, as it were. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. Apparently hitting the like button is super important, and I have to remind you guys to do it. So I'm supposed to do that. Thank you, YouTube, for reminding me. Very helpful pop-ups while you're live streaming. Very helpful. Very helpful. Okay. Anyhow, we encountered some problems. Day one, morning of, at apparently sometime early in the sleeping time, around 1 a.m. or whatever, our hotel, the place we were going to stay, had decided that they're just going to cancel our reservation, which apparently was made upwards of 7 months ago. So 7 months was not enough lead time for them to get the room ready. I guess I'm not fully versed in exactly how hotels operate, although I have stayed at quite a few of them. But apparently 7 months was not enough lead time for the hotel. So the morning we're leaving, many hours scrambling around on the internet to make sure that we had a place to stay when we got to California, which, as you guys know, if you are staying anywhere in the region of Disneyland, it's quite booked. It's quite booked, you guys. It's booked up more often than not down there. And in that part of the world, surprisingly enough, it being that popular, it's often booked up, you know? So morning of, we dealt with the hotel drama. We ended up finding a hotel. We found a hotel that did not have the same amenities that the original booking had, booked by my lovely mother, Olivia's grandmother. The original place we were going to stay had 2 little bedrooms, a living room, and 2 bathrooms, which was going to be big because there was 5 adults and 1 child. So you guys can understand how having 2 bathrooms in the morning is helpful. But the place we stayed at had 1 little bedroom with 2 beds and 1 bathroom. So there was a lot of jockeying for the bathroom, as it were. Throughout the little trip, but happy to say that it was a reasonably nice hotel. It was well kept. The breakfast was good. Had a pool, so roof deck pool, so not all bad. No complaints, other than the original hotel being shady and all that. So we survived that. The morning of, we also had our house sitter, dog sitter, chicken sitter sitting on the chickens. try to back out on us. And thing is that when you go down the list of people who are on the list of people going to Disneyland out of our group, I considered myself the low man on the totem pole. So, you guys as YouTube viewers would be like, "Oh, word, dude's gonna be home by himself. He's probably gonna stream a bunch and edit a bunch of videos," which is probably what I would have done. I almost had to stay home because we couldn't find any backup. There was no backup. Aunts and uncles that could have backed up, they were all indisposed. Friends were all out in the end with the dog sitter, but that was a problem. Then the car rental thing was a situation. There was just a bunch of drama to try and get out of town, which is ridiculous, but, that's kind of how it goes sometimes. Uh-oh, YouTube's not receiving enough video. You guys might experience buffering. Uh-oh. Guys, don't buffering. Okay. What the hell is going on here? I'm sending you the info. We figured it out. The thing that was kind of upsetting to me is that I think in reality, if somebody had to stay home, I think I was the one to have to stay home. Because mom with dad and not mom, I don't think that would have worked. Is everything just broken? I think in reality, if somebody had to stay home. Wow. We're like disconnecting and reconnecting. Oh my God. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Hello? Have I dropped out completely? Is that what's going on? We may have just completely dropped out right in the middle of a stream. Oh. Sarah Baker says I'm okay. I don't know. I guess we'll figure it out. One way or another. Hey, Rebecca's in the green room. What's up? Have I broken the internet again?
Here so that it would stop buffering.
What's that?
That I switched over here so it would stop buffering. I'm just listening straight on here.
You're like, I'm skipping the buffering. I'm going around it.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Ain't no buffer. Sounds like you had fun though. What was your favorite part?
Well, as I was telling the story, we had some issues to try and leave. To get out of town. Getting out of town was turning into a big kerfuffle to try and get out of here. A bunch of drama. But like I said, the hotel didn't have the amenities that we had pre-planned on, having planned basically a million years in advance, having booked 7 months ago as opposed to, like a month ago or whatever, right?
Right, got that.
Big pain in the ass, but we got that all figured out. But like I said, with the hotel, it was like we're navigating more than we had kind of expected because, like, my sister had to sleep on the floor.
Whoops.
And my big sister, who's older than me, had to sleep on the floor. She opted to sleep on the floor because there's a pull-out bed, and she was like, "Well, let me check." And I did the pull-out bed, and then I actually made the pull-out bed, and then she jumped on it and was like, "Oh my God, sleeping on the floor is better than sleeping on this thing." So she had opted to sleep on the floor. But what was to like? So the weather was nice. Obviously, California's pretty chill. The park itself is really nice. It's kept up very well. One of the things I hadn't anticipated on going there was admiring the landscaping at Disneyland. The landscaping is intense. There's lots of cool plants, and the landscaping is very well maintained there. So that was, for me, that was a high point. Nobody else was super interested. Vicky and my mom were like cursorily interested, like, oh yeah, look at that. That's great. That's great. But I don't know. To me, I was like kind of fixated on the foliage of the park. But the park itself was really nice. The amenities were really nice. Is upkept very well. But there's a big problem with Disneyland. They do not know how to manage the amount of people coming to the park. Now, to clarify that, they do know how to make gigantic lines of people. They are super good at managing gigantic lines of people. They move you around. They extend the line. They make these. They put up whatever you call the railing in between the lines and stuff. The lines go all over the place. If you're going to Disneyland, the main thing that you're going to be doing is waiting in line. I swear to God, this park was designed for British people. They want to be in the queue. It's like their national pastime is being in the queue. Disneyland was basically designed for them because you are going to be waiting 45 minutes. You're going to be waiting an hour. You're going to be waiting an hour and 20 minutes in a line that is slowly moving. You're standing in the California sun, which admittedly it is November, so it's not as hot. The days that we were there, it was like, I think the high was like 85. Maybe I think the highest high was 87 or something like that, which is warm. It's not incredibly hot. But when you're just standing in the sun all day, because that's pretty much the main function of what you're going to be doing at Disneyland, you are just going to be waiting in line for everything. You're going to wait in line to eat. You're going to wait in line to go on a ride. You're going to wait in line to meet Cinderella. You're going to wait in line to go to a boutique. You're going to wait in line to buy a stuffy. You're going to wait in line. The one thing that you won't wait in line is for a bathroom. Believe it or not, I don't know how they managed to figure out the math on this, but there are enough bathrooms and enough stalls in each bathroom that somehow you don't have to wait in line for a bathroom. Aubrey's asking about Galaxy's Edge. I'm having to look it up so that I can remember what Galaxy's Edge is. Oh, Galaxy's Edge is the Star Wars area? Is that what it's... What the fuck does this not load? What the hell is this? Galaxy's Edge is... Oh, yeah. Okay, so Galaxy's Edge is the Star Wars area. I'll get to that in just a second. Okay, I wanted to make sure I'm not talking about the wrong thing. I got the map open here now, so I can kind of go through the items that are there. But the biggest thing that you're going to be doing is waiting in line. And if you're not prepared to do that, I don't know. It's not the trip for you. But I think from a personal standpoint, my personal view here is that they are letting in too many people into the park at once. Because, and the way that I can sort of verify this, and I have video footage of it, I don't know if I'm going to get a copyright claim or get destroyed by Disneyland for showing it on YouTube or whatever, but I will show you guys this stuff. You'll be standing in a line for a ride, okay, that the line is, let's say, 70 minutes long, which means there are 70 minutes long worth of riders in that line. And Disneyland has this app that you can open up and look at all the lines and see how long that the lines are estimated to be. And it definitely most of the day, if not the entirety of the day, you could look around at every single ride. Like the lowest amount of time would be like 35 minutes, 30 minutes. We saw one once that was 20 minutes, but I never saw anything below 20 the days that we were there. All of those people, the customers, right, are waiting in line. And if you will look out in the walkways, and the walkways are asses and elbows, a sea of people walking, right? So not only are all of these people occupied by waiting in a line, they're also walking super slowly because the walkways are packed full of people walking and moving around and staring up at a thing or whatever. And I think the reality of Disneyland is that they are letting in too many customers. There's just too many customers. And I was actually talking to some fellow Disneyland person when I was there, that I was saying that, like, you could go to a 5-star restaurant with 3 Michelin stars, the best restaurant in the world, right? And let's say that the best restaurant in the world has a seating capacity of 100 people. If there was 250 people in that restaurant would ultimately be seen as a disaster, right? Because greatest restaurant in the world, it can only handle 100 people at a time. You put 250 people in there, it's not going to function properly. And that's the reality. That's the reality that Disneyland needs to figure out. Like this, because every single person that is coming home from Disneyland and Disney World, I would imagine is the exact same situation, is going to come home and be like, you have to fucking wait in line for 5 or 6 hours out of the day. You go there for like 10 or 12 hours. A majority of the time is pretty much spent, the lion's share of your time is spent standing in a line in the California sun. And here's the thing. If everybody that was there was an adult, functionally the adults could be rationalized with, right? The adults, if you're talking about people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, talking to all of the adults who have fully functioning, fully formed frontal cortexes and their brains have matured, could go, well, I'm waiting in line because there are people in front of me and it will be their turn, then it will be my turn. Cool. Is there a way to rationalize that thought process to somebody who is 2 years old, 3 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old, some 10-year-olds, and they're all in line and none of them know each other. They are all strangers, right? I do not know how you could possibly even imagine that you're going to relate that information to somebody whose brain is not fully functioning or fully formed. Functioning? Formed. Formed is what I was trying to say. And that is the conundrum, because all of the adults that are there are trying to manage the emotional state of somebody who is so dysregulated because they're standing outside in the sun waiting for a ride that is going to last probably 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes at most, right? And that ultimately is the big problem, is that you've got a bunch of kids and you're trying to maintain their emotional state. Now, I will say that my daughter, Olivia, did a fantastic job of regulating her emotions while we were at Disneyland. She did have a couple of little kind of meltdown cry because she was super tired. 12 hours into running all around. Kids get tired and sometimes they're just on edge, right? That was basically the only thing that really we really encountered with Olivia herself. Although I did see a lot of other kids that were likely losing a lot of privileges once they got home. I guess we'll put it that way. Having a real hard time, having a real hard go of it. you know, and because there are so many people in the park, the rides are such a long wait, and then there is a pressure that is put onto the characters, right? So you're talking about Mickey Mouse is walking around, or Groot is walking around, or Iron Man, or Cinderella, or Alice from Alice in Wonderland. All of these little characters are kind of walking around the park. Now, when I was a kid, those characters were on the loose, and I swear to God, you would run into Goofy 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Different Goofies. I would almost guarantee. I would put. I wouldn't necessarily wager on this. I would hypothetically wager on this. You know what I'm saying? I would wager $1,000 that when I was a kid, there was multiple people in costumes all around Disneyland of the same character. Has to have existed. Nowadays, that doesn't seem to exist. There are individual characters. Like I said, Alice in Wonderland is a perfect example. Alice from Alice in Wonderland, a very small, diminutive person, and was with the Mad Hatter, right? And they're walking around, and they're trying to like engage with people, but over so many years, Disney has figured out that like they have to have handlers with those character actors, right? So there has to be bodyguards, essentially, right? They need CIA guys with them. So then they have to make sure that they're setting up a line, right? They're setting up a line to meet Minnie Mouse, right? So they're managing this line. No one else can come up, so you can get a one-on-one with Minnie Mouse. So there's a line. One of the things that I noticed about these lines is that they are filled with Disney adults, okay? I'm talking about people that are in their late 30s at Disneyland wanting to meet Snow White, for instance. You know? And they're in line in front of fucking 5-year-olds, right? They're taking up space. They're occupying space with a 5-year-old is waiting to meet Mickey Mouse, who thinks that Mickey Mouse is a real creature. I don't know. What do you mouse? I think is a real actual cartoon mouse. I don't know. You know. Well, there are a bunch of fucking adults in those lines to meet Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, right? This is not Gaston. This is somebody in a costume. You 40-year-old weirdo from Ohio, get the fuck out of the line and let the kids meet Gaston. Let the children be at the children's theme park. What the fuck, man? Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things that, like, there's nothing I can say at the time. There's nothing that I would have done in the park. I wouldn't have started an argument with these people. I didn't scoff at them. I didn't frown at them. I didn't tell them that they're fucking idiots or anything like that. Now, if they happen to come onto my YouTube channel and come here and I say, you're a fucking idiot for standing in line while little kids are standing in the sun waiting to meet the Little Mermaid, right? Ariel, right? She's not a fucking mermaid, man. like you're a piece. It's like you're a piece of garbage, man. Like the parents paid money that they had to make at their jobs so that their kids could go and meet these and have this experience, right? Now, I'm not saying adults shouldn't go to the park. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be there. But you got to understand, like, there should be a level of decorum with these adult people to not, like, stand in line. You don't need a photo op with somebody in a Mickey Mouse outfit, right? Like, what is that photo going to do for you? And by the way, we actually met some people who were in line to meet Mickey Mouse, to get Mickey Mouse to sign their autograph book. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the kids at Disneyland get these little autograph books, the little Disney book, and it has blank pages. And if you meet Peter Pan, right, the little kids can say, "Hey, Peter Pan, can you sign my book for me?" And it's a guy in a Peter Pan outfit acting like Peter Pan, right? Who writes, they obviously coach them on how to write Peter Pan in there or whatever. Right in there, Peter Pan, really big, and, oh, here you go, and they give it back to him. And it's great for somebody who is 7 years old, right? If you are in your mid-40s and you came back the next day to Disney to stand in line for an hour because you forgot yesterday to get Mickey Mouse to sign your autograph book, your life priorities are fucked, okay? You need to figure out what the fuck is wrong with your life and fix that shit and stop going to Disneyland and having somebody in a Mickey Mouse costume sign a piece of paper for you. That is absurd. It's a level of absurdity that I cannot wrap my mind around. I just don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they're there. I don't know what has gone on in their life that they're so traumatized that this is how it's coming out, right? Clearly, it's better than a lot of other negative behaviors that they could be doing. They're not alcoholic. Well, I don't know. They might be alcoholics. They might be drug addicts. I don't know. They might be all of those bad things also. On the list of this is a bad thing, it's pretty darn low, okay, to be clear. But it is bizarre as a parent to be standing there and having to rationalize, having to grin and bear it while you're like, why are you in this line with all these little kids here that want to meet an imaginary mouse, an imaginary cartoon mouse, who's actually just a guy in the outfit at the theme park, right? But you want his autograph.
A friend to dress like that?
What's
to your
that?
House, have your friend come and dress like that to your house and sign your book.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It is. I don't understand it. Now, a portion of the video that I recorded was me talking about this in a much kinder way that I'll put an edited video out. But the way that I sort of relate it in that video is that one of the reasons that Vicky and I were willing to, obviously I'm unemployed right now. I don't have income. That we had already paid for this many, many months ago. Our reservations were all made and everything. And we said, hey, we're going to follow through on this. And one of the big reasons that we're going to follow through on this that became clear to me while I was at Disneyland is that I don't want my daughter to be one of these fucking 40-year-olds who wants to go to Disneyland and stand in front of little kids to meet Mickey Mouse, right? Because clearly that has got to be their motivation, that that their parents didn't take them to Disneyland when they were little. And I understand that this is probably a uniquely American problem. And there are probably other countries in the world that are experiencing this same phenomenon, is that the adults that never went to Disneyland as a kid. It's a weird thing that I've noticed in my life that nah, my parents never took me to Disneyland or did anything like that, right? My parents did. And so I really have no desire to have somebody sign an autograph for me. The only time I've ever gotten people's autographs, I've gotten a bunch of musicians that I had gone to the show and I had the ticket stub, and I had the ticket stub on me. I had them sign it, right? That's the only time I've ever gotten somebody's autograph to the extent of my knowledge. Yeah, and it just makes
Doesn't make sense to me either. I don't know what the point of another piece of paper in a cluttered world. So, but kids, I can see it because it's their minute in sun. They get to be with whoever. I didn't go as a kid, but I have no desire to go chase down Tigger or Piglet or whoever.
Yeah, it's very weird. Walter Lover says, so true. It's funny how grown-ass adults do stupid shit like that. I have family members in their 60s acting like that. They go 2 times a week or sometimes 3 times a week to do the same crap. Yeah, the thing is, like I said earlier, I wanted to clarify a little bit that adults should go to the park. You should definitely go there. Go around the park, have a great time, do all that kind of stuff. But if you find yourself in a position where you are like you are the obstruction to a little kid, right, having an experience, you should be adult enough to get the fuck out of the way, right? It makes no sense to me. And like, here's a parallel. Imagine you go to the bathroom and there's a big line in the bathroom, and there's a kid in line right behind you that clearly is going to pee or poop their pants, right? Now, are you the adult that says, "Oh, go ahead, get up there"? Talk their parents, "Hey, go ahead, get them in there so you don't have an accident to deal with," right? Because you go like, "Hey, my bladder functions properly. I'm 43-year-old man, and I could stand here for another minute or two," right? It would be insane for you to just be like, "Nah, fuck these kids. Poop your pants. I don't care. I have to go pee." Like, it's a weird thing, and I don't understand it. And it's very bizarre. I find it to be very, 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 very bizarre.
But what was Olivia's favorite?
I cannot get her to put a finger on it. She will give me a different answer every time I ask her. And it's basically what she's remembering at the time. She had a fantastic time, okay? To be clear. If it was a scale of 10, she had a fucking 10, okay? Like, it's great. She didn't know what Disneyland was, really. Like, and to be clear, I think she has a better interpretation of what Disneyland is. She turned 5 while we were there. But if you told her about like the Evergreen State Fair, which we go to every year at some point, she'd be like, "Oh my God, the Evergreen State Fair! The rides are so much fun, and there's we have a gold crocodile. We have a gold crocodile that's like a stuffed crocodile that's gold. It's a cheap fair stuffed toy. I don't know where it went, but it's around here somewhere. She won it like throwing rings at something or whatever at a game, right? And I guarantee you that golden crocodile is at the exact same level of importance to her as something that she got at Disneyland. She got a Goofy. She got a Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas, and some ears, and a couple other things that we were there because mom can't say no, but yeah, I guarantee you the stuff from the pumpkin patch, right? I don't even know if we came home with anything from the pumpkin patch this year other than pumpkins, but I will tell you the pumpkin that she drew on, because she didn't want to carve the pumpkin, to be clear. She didn't want to carve the pumpkin this year, and her explanation is kind of interesting. It's a multitude of explanation. If you cut the pumpkins, Dad, then the pumpkins will rot and they'll go bad, so you can't have them as long, and Mom can't turn them into pumpkin pie, and the chickens can't eat them. So she has a multitude of reasons why she doesn't want to cut the pumpkins open. But the reason, but what I'm saying is that she had an amazing time at Disneyland. She had an amazing time at the pumpkin patch that's 10 miles down the road. Right? Like, it's all awesome to her, Kettle corn, a corn dog, what's that? They had these pumpkin spice donuts at fresh made pumpkin spice donuts at the pumpkin patch. They're fucking so good. They're amazing. They're like, Oh, you guys have created food that is actually heroin? Oh, I shall have the whole bag. Yeah, they're off the charts good. You probably go into diabetes shock, like here on my microphone. They're so good, but I guarantee you, if you said like, do you like kettle corn? Yeah, I love kettle corn. Where do you get kettle corn? We go to the thing, and it's like, well, did you have kettle corn at Disneyland? Disneyland, yeah, So the thing is that she's going to have a ton of photos. She's going to have some keepsakes. She's going to have a bunch of video from being at Disneyland. And she's going to have the memory of us going and having fun, right? I'm no expert on human I'm no expert on human brain function or memory or any of that stuff. I don't have a doctorate in whatever that field is, which we probably should look that up. Doctorate in brain memories. It's got to be something. Cognitive neuroscience. See? We didn't know what the fuck that was called. Now we do. Cognitive neuroscience. Got it. Boom. Thanks, Internet. Anyhow, we got smarter today by 1 metric. Yeah, that's right. 1 metric smarter than we were yesterday. But Olivia's going to remember that, and that's what I remember. I went to the World's Fair Expo. Was it 86? World's Fair Expo 86, Vancouver. Yeah, Vancouver, Canada. Yes, I went to this. The World's Fair Expo 86. Now, here's the deal. Fuck, I gotta show you guys what... I always forget you guys can't see my screen unless I let you see it. Okay, you perverts, you fucking weirdos. Okay, Expo 86, this thing. I went to this. Okay, that's a smaller picture. I went to this. I went to this thing. I don't remember this thing. I went to this thing. I went to this. I remember the scaffolding of this building and walking around it, the big metal poles. I remember that. There was this gondola thing. I remember us having gone on the gondola. I don't remember being on the gondola. I don't remember this. I don't remember that. Let me see. Let me scroll through here. I remember being at this thing, whatever this thing was. And I remember this UFO. I remember there was a monorail, but there's a monorail in Seattle, so who the hell knows? There's a monorail in Disneyland. Yeah, by the way. Couldn't get on the damn thing. Okay, but this Expo 86, the World's Fair, right? I went to this with my fam. As you guys know, I'm from the Seattle area, and I grew up in the Seattle area, and Vancouver, Canada is not far from Seattle. In fact, it's a whole nother country that's not very far away. You just drive there in your car. And it doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long to get to Canada. You just drive there with your automobile. With your automobile. They don't let me in now, but they let me in back then because I was a little guy. Anyhow, we went to the World's Fair, okay? And I sort of vaguely remember this stuff. Now, I was like 2 years older than Olivia when the World's Fair went on. And I remember kind of vaguely like stuff and things, but I just had fun. But the main thing that I remember, okay, buckle up, put on your seatbelts, you fucking weirdos, all right? We might crash this live stream, and if you're not wearing your seatbelt and your trays aren't in the upright position, you could get an apple cider donut spilt about your lap, causing 1 to 3 burns in degrees. Anyhow, the biggest thing that I remember from the Expo 86, Joel, the intrepid traveler himself, went on his own adventure. I ventured about the Expo 86 solo muchacho, tiny man myself, with my cute sneakers and my probably corduroy pants or whatever the hell kids wore in the 80s. Went out on an adventure by myself. I was lost for hours and hours, my guy. Upwards of more than half of the day, I was loose on my own. And it was fantastic for a good amount of hours until I realized I was for sure lost. Because I was having a great time by myself, and then I realized, like, shit, there's a bunch of stuff that little guys can't do, like buy food, you know? And eventually I turned myself in to the police, and they managed to find my parents, and my mom was actually talking to me about that how I was crying. I was very upset by that point, and I don't blame me for it, because I was loose in a fair full of adults by myself, and I was 6. But hey, that's the story of my childhood. That's basically how my life has gone since day one, you know. So I was just kind of doing my own vibes, you know, just doing my own thing. But yeah, one of the big downsides to the line thing I was telling you guys earlier that I just remembered was you could be in a line for like 45 minutes to an hour, and then the ride breaks down for some reason, and you just gotta F off, you know. You gotta go over there now. Good luck to you. Turns out you can complain, and they'll give you a lightning pass to go on the ride next time you get back. But the next time you get back with the lightning pass, you still have to wait in line for 20 minutes because there's that many people with the lightning pass. The reality is that the function of the theme park itself is that they obviously want the most amount of people that they can fit in the door. They're going to make the most amount of money that way. You pay to get in. But my argument is that you pay a premium to get in. Like, it was $2,000 for us to go to Disneyland. Just for the tickets. To get in.
Admission. Okay, wow.
Yeah, that's just admission to get in, right? That's a lot of money. I don't care how you shape it up to, like, well, there's 5 people and it's 3 days, and you go, well, maybe you guys didn't need to go for 3 days. Well, it's like we were there for 3 days, and we were going to Disneyland for 3 days. That's how that's going to be, you know. And that's with a discount, you guys. That's with a discount. That's how much it costs. So it was very expensive, but I think it was worthwhile experience for Olivia's life. And I hadn't like really thought about why it would be an important experience for Olivia's life, and until that thought culminated in the fact of, like, she likely will not be one of these weirdos standing in the way of little kids meeting Mickey Mouse 30 years from now. So that to me is probably worth whatever it costs right now. Whatever the cost is. And, oh, hey, if you're one of those viewers that's not chatting, at least hit the like button, okay? I know you don't have any input, but, you know, you can input your like button. Or you could gift memberships. You could gift 10 memberships like Witchy Cat did, like the Witchy Woman, Witchy Cat, which we very much appreciate. Thank you very much. That is generous. She's on the phone call right now. She's on the stream. And you too could call in on the stream if you're a member or a patron. And you could go over to www.patreon.com/JOEL_C, and it'll take you to my Patreon page. You can become a patron. Then you get access to our Discord, where we talk about all sorts of stuff. Like, let's go over to this tab right over here and see what's currently going on. Test flow on overflows for your aquarium. That's what's currently going on in the project corner. There's a turtle tank being constructed by Alyssa, who's in the chat, which is in there. She received a a turtle. She's working on a turtle habitat. What else is going on in old Project Corner? Witchy Cat is working on building a computer because she's probably going to start memeing and streaming and doing all sorts of weird stuff. Somebody else set up a tank. Somebody else set up a tank. You know, there's a lot of fish tank stuff going on in the Project Corner because that's what a lot of you folks are doing, you know. So, yeah, you could do that. What the? Hold on. Shit. I'm just trying to go back to the green room. What are you doing, Discord? Go back to the green room. Voice channels. Go here. Wait. There. It wouldn't go back. I don't know why. It had this pop-up thing. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. Anyhow, that's our spiel for the day on becoming a YouTube member, which is very important, which means we have 10 new YouTube members gifted. Veruca Salt, Mexicali Fishkeeper, Night Owl Aquatics, Vitra, Shauna G. I see Shauna G around quite a bit. Shelby Ray Lane! Oh my God, Shelby Ray got gifted a membership. That's fantastic. If you guys don't know, Shelby Ray Lane might be our #1 super fan. She's the only person, verifiably, by me, I verified it. She has watched every fucking YouTube video I've ever put up. Even all the private ones. There is a comment from Shelby Ray. She went through the entire library, start to finish, of every single thing I've ever uploaded to YouTube. Because at the time, well, not every single thing. Hold on, let's backpedal. We have to backpedal. We have to backtrack. Inaccurate information. Cut that out. Cut the inaccurate information out. Shelby Ray Lane has watched most of every damn video I've ever put. Not all of them. That's got to be clear. I got to clarify that. All of them on this channel or something. I don't know. She's okay. Whatever. Shelby Ray Lane is amazing. She's been around for a long time, and she only ever gets to get a gifted membership nowadays, and that is amazing for her to be back in the membership fold. Okay, Mike Stambaugh. I've never seen Mike Stambaugh's name before. James Dover. I think I've seen James Dover. How do you say James Dover? That's a tongue twister. James, you have a tongue twister name. Sorry, and I don't know why. It shouldn't be. Kelly Roach and Duckweed Elbows. Okay, yeah, you all got gifted, so you better at least gift a like button post or something. I don't know. I'm here for it if U2 calls in. You could probably convince Bono to donate some funds. God damn it, Bono, get on it. Bono, donate to the channel because I don't have a job anymore, and I'd like to make YouTube my job. I think realistically I would. I haven't made up my mind yet. I've had a bunch of interviews and a bunch of blah blahs, whatever, talking to people about contracts, that kind of shit, and we'll see how it goes. But we're no longer beholden to the monolith corporate overlords anymore. We're no longer tied to any corporate interests. But if you are a big giant corporate interest and you want to give me a big fucking fat paycheck, feel free. Just send it on over. You could do that if you want. So our current number of members was actually 116 because some of our gifted memberships went away. So we'll update that 116, right? But Witchy Cat donated 10, so now we're back to 126, which is not bad. But we need a couple zeros behind that 126 if we're going to make you guys some actual real content where I fly around the world and check out fish tanks and shit like that and talk to you guys about that stuff. Although, I do have a decent library right now of videos that I have been working on editing like a clusterfuck of nonsense. I got to admit to you guys the other day, I just basically wanted to karate punch this computer and throw it out in the street and run it over with my truck and throw myself off a bridge because I was editing and it was frustrating the shit out of me. I gotta tell you. It was one of those moments where you're like, I'm going for a walk. And I did. I went for a walk. I walked around the neighborhood in the dark until I was feeling tired. And then I came back and was like, okay, never mind. I don't want to punch my computer. I love you, shitty computer. You're my friend, and we're good now. But not from anything that the computer was doing. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it wasn't. It was just me chilling out. That's all.
Name,
What's that?
Corvus Oskin is a great name, but Clusterfuck of Idiocy could
Yeah.
be a good channel.
It probably would. That probably already exists. Well, I believe this computer is named Tardbot 6000. So, what do you expect? What do you expect from a machine with the moniker of Tardbot 6000? You don't expect it to function properly. It really wasn't that. I think a lot of it has to do with I have all this like video files, and I'm like, I want to put this in there, and then I'm like, where is that file? Shit. And I got a million things to look through. And I've been doing a bunch of reorganizing of hard drives and moving all the files around and all that stuff. So half the time I go into a project, and then 6 files have been moved. So then I got to go find the files so that I can put them back in to the directory for the video editing software. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. I'm already frustrated just talking about it. But things are coming along, and so we do have high hopes. Fingers crossed.
Found thermal paste.
You found it?
I did. It was with
what?
It was with the cooler. There was a little tiny, cute little syringe in with the cooler stuff. It was.
The computer cooler actually came with a little tube.
Yes.
Oh my God! Alvin Alejo just donated $5 to the stream. Well, thank you, Alvin. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well too. Hats off to one of our veteran viewers. Is he a vet or is he active duty? I can't remember. I don't know what's going on. Is he a veteran or active duty? Last time we checked in, he was active duty. Well, hopefully all is going well on your end. Recently, I was contacted by a old viewer, somebody who's been viewing my channel for a very long time, who was active before and was for the last few years was in an advanced doctorate program with the Air Force, I think. And apparently they have completed their doctorate. They now have achieved their doctorate and are doing medicine somewhere. I don't know where. And if I knew where, I wouldn't tell you because we gotta maintain some kind of decorum around here, right? But yeah, that was some really good news because they were active duty. I don't know if they're active duty now, but we have some service members around here, and it was Veterans Day the other day, and I don't really know what you're supposed to do. I don't know what you're supposed to do to like celebrate Veterans Day. I probably could have called some of my veteran family members and been like, "Hey, thanks for your I don't know what you're supposed to do, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the people that have served. I appreciate most of the people that have served, except for the ones that went in because they wanted to shoot somebody. That seems weird. Seems like a weird motivation to me, but, it is what it is. Active duty, currently in Kuwait. All right. Well, hopefully tensions are okay in Kuwait. And things are. Hopefully, you're just having like regular days. Do your PT, do your. I don't know what you do, but I'm gonna say. We'll just say, do your PT, then do your motor pool work. We'll just say that we'll imagine that you work in the motor pool and you just get all of that done, and everybody's happy with that. Yeah.
Who is the motor pool guy in MASH?
What?
Sorry. I was thinking he's Klinger. Do your PT and do your... Sorry. MASH moment. I apologize.
Oh. Well, I mean, if you are a cross-dresser, it doesn't work anymore because if you're out of uniform, I think I think they what do they do? I think they beat you with a wet noodle, right? Isn't that what they do? I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't know. It was just my brain always goes too fast. Sorry.
Oh, Derek Palmer has a great point here. We'll pin that. We'll pin that to the chat. Message pinned. Apple cider donuts are the same thing, so freaking good, especially when they're warm out of the fryer. Yes. I was calling them what the hell was I calling them? Pumpkin spice? Yeah, they're apple cider donuts. They might be apple cider donuts. They might be pumpkin spice donuts. I don't know if there's a big variance there. There very well might be. I do not know. In my mind, that's the same thing. And so maybe I'm just referencing them wrong, but I think they were called apple cider donuts. I will say they were fresh out of the fryer. They were hot. They were making them right over there. Then they were bagging them up. Then they were putting them in the warmer thing. They were sitting there. You get them hot and they're fresh. And I could go for a bag of 40 of them right now and eat them. I would probably regret at the end. I would have regrets at the end of it. After they were gone, I would have regrets. But the whole time through those donuts, I would, I'd be doing it. You know what I mean? I'd be going full tilt into those hot, fresh donuts, man. And after the fact, I would regret it, and then I would probably have to go jogging or something to somehow verify that, or somehow rationalize that it's not that bad. But the reason that I say that is because I don't have any of them here, so I don't have to deal with any of the comments that I just made. Like, I don't have to actually eat 40 of them, but they are so good. Derek says, up here in Apple Country, they're a staple in the fall. Pretty sure I posted a photo in the Discord of my mug with apple cider / ice cream slushy with a donut on top. I would argue that I live in Apple Country. My friend. My friend. All respect to the Apple Country. I live in Washington State, the apple capital of the world. Right? Where are the apples from?
Got apple, both of you. I just have to fall down the hill and I'm in Orchards.
Which country? Okay, hold on. We have to. We're going analytical here. We got to find out how much the. Dude, look at this question. Look at this question. How much apples does the U.S. produce? Oh my God, China. China is the winner. 49% of the global production is coming from China. Okay, well, I don't live in China either. But Justin Woody is right. Applets and Cotlets country. That's right. Kashmir, baby. Kashmir, Washington. Turkey. Turkey actually makes a lot of apples. Somehow China is like 10 times the amount of everybody else. How did I not know this? How did I not know this?
Much bigger than we are.
How did I not know this? Somehow China is producing 45,983,000 million tons. What is that number? I don't understand that number. What, 1 million tons? Huh? Okay, we're going deeper here. We're going deep. List of countries. Oh, you're cut off if you make less than 1 million tons. Okay. That's how this is working. Top. I don't believe I need to read the top 15, but let's go top 5. China, Turkey, United States, Poland, India. Okay. But the United States is only like 4.5. 5 million 5 million tons. Although we've moved. What the? What kind of maniac? Oh my god! What kind of maniac does this backwards? Okay, this fucking chart. This chart. I'm so mad at this chart. I shouldn't have to be. Map of Apple output. What the? What is this? All right, chaos. Chaos. Chaos reigns supreme. Washington Apple production versus all other states.
Hater kept sent it to us in the Discord.
Huh?
It's
What?
in the live stream. Hater kept sent you that link in the live stream. With the chart.
Where?
In the live stream. Discord.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Oh my god. In the live stream? Okay, I'll go over there in a second. Hold on. So Washington State produces 60% of the nation's apples. Washington State does that by itself. Okay, what 6.5 billion 6.5 billion what's? Okay. New York coming in at number 2 at 1.4 billion. Michigan 1.1 billion. California, get out of here. Pennsylvania 460 million. Okay, Pennsylvania. Nice. Look at this cut right on my eye right here. I got right here. Oh my god, somebody's texting me. I bet it's Derek. I bet Derek's screaming. Derek, are you screaming? It's fine. If you feel like you have to, you got to let it out, buddy.
No, I'm good. I'm second best Apple country. It's fine.
Second best? New York then, huh? You're in New York? Now we know where you are.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we're going to come get you.
I mean, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to look at my social media stuff and see where I'm at. So,
well, New York's pretty big, you know. Like if I say I'm in Washington, and you're looking for me in Spokane, you're screwed.
right.
You're screwed, bro. You're not gonna run into me, dude. It's not gonna happen unless I happen to be visiting Spokane, which actually I did that this year for the Gay Pride Parade. That's right. Straight boy over here. I don't even know if you'd call me straight. I'm pretty waffly. You know, who cares? My past is colorful, but I would not classify myself as queer or gay. I would classify myself as a straight guy, being there with my female spouse and my daughter, supporting the queer community. We were there to support, right? And we were there in Spokane, so you could have run into me, but I wouldn't have let it happen. New York, are you upstate? Are you like upstate, or are you
very upstate?
Oh, okay.
Not,
so you're like you
like
have.
Poughkeepsie,
So you got like you got like trees and streams and fish and shit.
Yeah, like I could, technically get to Canada in like less than an hour.
Oh yeah. I think for me, how far is Canada? Let's see. Oh my god, I should probably type it correctly.
Yeah, I think
there's a website. There's a website called "How Far Is Canada From Me?" Oh my god.
I could do it in 15 minutes as the crow flies, or 45 driving.
From your house, Rebecca, I could walk to Canada.
I know you could.
Oh
You'd
my
have to
god.
swim across the river first, but
If I had a strong arm, I would have thrown a bunch of trash right over the border. That's right, Canada. Suck it. I would have thrown it right over. But I didn't feel like walking all the way over there. Oh, did I mention this? I'm working on a video about what do you call that peak? Oh, I made a short about it. So I did post a short about it. That peak that you go up on Washington Pass.
Liberty Bell?
Liberty Bell. Yeah. I want to go up that thing next year.
That's what you say.
I was looking at the map and the hike for it, and it looks like pretty reasonable. So I'm gonna go up that thing. And if anybody's looking up at the top, and I'm up at the top there, I'm gonna flip the bird at him. Maybe I'll moon him. Maybe I'll moon him. I need to go to maps. Where'd Derek go? He left. Oh man. We're gonna have a party here today. From here to Canada. There we go. What the? Here. Oh my God! What's the? How did I get water on my arm? Oh, I was drinking my water bottle. Oh man, it is only like an hour from here if I drive fast. I could drive that fast. If I go 80 miles an hour, I'll be there in an hour, baby.
Just to have to turn around and come home.
I could get to Canada in an hour. That's Derek and I. We have that in common. Rebecca, you might be too close to Canada. Although I will say, their cell phone signal is much superior to America's cell phone signal. So shots fired to the gringos.
I have to be able to escape should things go awry next year's election.
No reason to escape. No reason to escape. What do you think? 91 indictments. You think Trump's going to get jail time? What do you think? Yeah, you could just say yes or no.
No.
No?
I'd like it, but no.
Okay.
Skip
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I think his kids will.
You think his kids will?
Yeah, I think the boys will take the fall.
Oh, that's interesting. Curveball I hadn't thought of. They don't seem all that bright. So there's a bit of a likelihood there. One of them seems like he's on a lot of drugs.
That could just be wistful thinking on his part. I mean, if Donald was your parent, wouldn't you want to be on a lot of drugs?
Well, Donald wasn't my parent, and I was on a lot of drugs for a long time. So
Fair.
It's the pot in the kettle here. But I also wasn't. I wasn't a part of the White House, Although the other guy's kid was having problems too, so I don't know. But he actually does have a horror story from being a kid, so slightly at least understandable.
Seems like political figures' kids don't do spectacularly well.
What's that?
I mean, I said it seems in many ways that political figures' kids don't do spectacularly well. That forced into the limelight, whether you want it or not, thing.
Oh. Well, I think that's true. I think it's true. They don't. I mean, I don't know. Seems like they should be prepared for it, but I don't know. A lot of people don't actively know the Joe Biden's wife and kid story. And I don't want to misquote it, but I think was Hunter in the car when they died?
Yes, as I recall, he was. Yeah. And in fairness to my earlier comment, I don't think anyone ever really thought of Donald Trump as a political figure, so his kids don't really fit into that. I mean, until it was too late.
Oh, okay. So the car crash, December 18th, 1972. So Joe Biden's wife, 2 sons, and their 1-year-old daughter were driving in the car. They got in a car crash. And I don't know the exact reason for the crash, but when they crashed, the mother and the 1-year-old daughter died in the crash, and Bo and Hunter, the 2 sons, were critically injured but survived. Apparently, Bo was 4 years old and suffered multiple broken bones, while Hunter, who was 3, had a fractured skull. So Yeah, I mean it's a level of tragedy that I don't think many people have that level of tragedy in their life, let alone even a fractured skull accident. You know,
Right. And then to have to suffer it in the public eye because
yeah.
Biden was already a national figure at that point.
I don't know if he was he? When did
Yeah. Senate, I think.
I know he was pretty public in the 80s. Oh, that's right when he was elected. 1972. That was the year he was elected. Crazy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
from day one to have to deal with that's just
Mhm.
a lot.
And so but the weird thing is that like there's been that weird thing around Biden that he like sniffs kids or whatever. And believe me guys, I've seen all the clips, whatever. He's a weird old guy. So is Trump, by the way. That's two pots and two kettles, right? And the weird thing that like they're saying that he smells people or whatever. And something that I do know is that the olfactory sense in humans is one of the strongest forms of memory that you have.
Yep.
And I really do wonder if every once in a while he does that. He's meeting all these people all the time, right? There's guaranteed he's going to run into somebody who smells like his ex-wife, right? Who died. And I really wonder if that's what happens. Like he meets somebody, they smell like that, and it gives him pause or something. I don't know the accuracy or the validity of my thought on that. I don't think it's necessarily true or false.
I don't
but
know
that's
about him particularly, but I certainly understand. I mean, somebody walks past you wearing a cologne that your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend wore, and you're just slammed back. So I completely get that.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's what's happening more than anything else, right? Is that it's not necessarily like him being a creep or anything like that. I think it's just him meeting people that smell in a way that just trigger that memory of that tragedy of them dying, right? Like, because that's probably the foremost memory that is in his mind, right? Like in the lizard part of his mind or whatever. Like that's probably takes you back to seeing them dead, them dying. And I can't imagine what it's like to have your wife die, which is bad enough, but to have your 1-year-old daughter die and the two boys are like in the hospital, obviously broken bones and fractured skulls and stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know. And I would imagine that you're probably whisked back to a just an awesome moment in his life, you know, which probably makes him pause. In lighter news, let's get off of the Biden sniffing people thing. Let's get back to what Aubrey was asking about Star Wars, the area at the park that, for whatever reason, I've immediately forgotten the name of it. Galaxy's Edge. Okay, so I'll show you guys what I'm looking at here. You got to remember to clue you guys in so you can see with your eyeballs, because welcome to the internet. Okay, I don't know. Here's the interactive map that Disneyland gives you. I don't know why. I don't know why it's this janky, but we're going to go in and we're going to take a look. Okay, well, that was blocked, guys. We can't go in there. Whatever that pop-up was, it was blocked. Okay, I wish I had a better map, but for right now, we'll use this map. The overhead view of Disneyland shows you that there's areas. Okay, Fantasyland is like the OG area right here. There's I remember whose castle it is. Everybody kept correcting me that I got the wrong castle.
Sleeping Beauty.
Is it Sleeping Beauty's castle? Are you sure?
Yes.
It's not Cinderella. Who knows? I don't know. Anyhow, Tomorrowland, Sleeping Beauty's castle, this stuff down by the front here, this mountain with the Matterhorn, the monorail. I don't know if the hotel is new or if it's been there for. I've never stayed at the hotel, so I don't fucking have a clue. Hold on, let me find a better map. This map is janky McJankerton. Hold on. Disneyland map. Let's do that.
Hey man, those Q ropes cost a lot of money. We can't be putting things into digital maps.
Is this... Jesus, this map sucks too. You figured they'd have a good map situation here figured out, but they don't. Is this good? This isn't good either. Why don't they get your shit together, Disneyland? Your map is jank.
Must be surprised. Only see it from the ground.
Oh my god. This map is a YouTube video. Get the... God damn it. Oh, here's the OG map. Okay, so we can figure out... We'll look at this first. Let me remove this. Let me go here. Change my hair. With the hair. With the hair. With the hair. We'll push that button. Okay. First map, guys. So here's the OG area that I used to go to when I was a little kid. I'm going to make it... I don't know if I can make it big enough here for y'all to see, but we'll put it over chat because F you guys, right? Adventureland, Main Street, New Orleans Square, Bear Country, Frontierland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland. So, and it looks like the hotel thing is there. So I'm guessing that in the past the hotel was there. We never stayed there. I stayed at my great-grandparents' house because it's much cheaper to stay at your great-grandparents' house than it is to stay at a goofy, literally a goofy hotel. Got him. Got him. Goofy is probably in there, you know, doing stuff. Okay, so that's the OG areas. And we're going to look at some of the newer areas. Is this interactive map? Okay, well, and now we got to change the function here. Okay, we're going to remove that. With our button pushing. And okay, so now it looks like this. Okay. Now Disneyland looks like this. And there's more stuff over in the California Adventureland. We're not going to talk about that. We don't need to talk about that. Okay, so New Orleans Square is still there. It's fancied up. Adventureland is still there. It's slightly fancied up. I don't know how to describe. It's just sort of updated. And then there's 11 is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Dooms, right? Isn't that what that is? Yeah, Indiana Jones... Adventure Time. Yeah. Okay.
Critter Country, I thought it said.
And we can kind of go through the list here a little bit, and we can talk about some of the stuff. But Star Wars Galaxy Edge. Okay, so you have to go all the way through Main Street, then you have to go over here through Fantasyland, then you go over here, or you go through here to get over to the Star Wars area. Now, the thing about the Star Wars area that I will mention here, and I mention it in the video whenever the video comes out, I talk about the same thing, probably more coherently than I am right now. But the thing about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, it is immersive, okay? You are basically on a movie set with a bunch of jamokes and jamools walking around, right? All the dipshits like me. Oh, what's that? It's a hill. Oh, you know. All of us guys, but everybody else is in costume, and it's basically every wall, every door, every building, everything there is immersive. It's like you're on a movie set, essentially, without the missing backs of stuff, you know, because you can actually go in things. So It's probably even better than a movie set because everything works on it. There are only 2 rides there in the Galaxy's Edge. And where is Galaxy's Edge? It's not. Oh, here it is. There's the Millennium Falcon ride and the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. In my thing, in this map here, it says it opens later this year, but that one is open. So because I went on it. So I can tell you a few things about this area. Fully immersive. You are basically in Star Wars world. The walls, everything's built up so it looks like you're in a canyon. You're in there, okay? You're in it, baby. You're walking around. The only thing that takes you out of it is the other customers, right? The other customers are the only thing that's really going to take you out of it. There are a couple of restaurants. There is actually a bar there, which is kind of interesting. Alcohol is only served at like very kind of limited places. There's actually a bar there, and I will tell you, there is a big giant waiting line to get into the bar. Okay? So if your plan is to go to Disneyland and go drink in the bar, I don't understand what's wrong with your brain. Maybe that's what you want to do, but prepare yourself to wait in line. You will be waiting in line to get in to the bar. But there is at least one restaurant, if not multiple. Now, we ate a lunch at one of the restaurants, which is, you're basically like eating a lunch in a Star Wars restaurant, if that makes sense. It's all Star Wars inside there. And I will say this, the food was quite good. Everyone liked their lunch. Everyone had a great dining experience as far as the food went. The food was really good. The wait time was not excessive. You did have to wait in line for a little bit. You had to order and then wait for your food. But it was not out of this, it was not an insane amount of time. But the food was quite good. It was actually much better than, it exceeded expectations. Okay. The two rides in Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars place. There are 2 rides. There's the Millennium Falcon, which you basically go on, and they pull some switcheroo stuff on you, and then you go in the Millennium Falcon. You fly around in the Millennium Falcon. You have a gunner, pilots, and engineers. And it's funner than not going on it, but, there's not a whole lot happening on that ride, to be honest with you. The one that I would recommend you go on if you go there is the Rise of the Resistance. The Rise of the Resistance was really fun. There's a lot to it. It's a longer ride. There's a bunch of things happening, and is definitely worth using your Fast Pass on that if you can get it. If you can book it, use your Fast Pass, go on that ride. It was fun. And then if you want to hang out and go on it again, you can. I don't know. A lot of people there were doing that, and I do not understand it, but that's what they were doing. So, yeah. But the Star Wars area, Galaxy's Edge, was Star Wars. I mean, Kylo Ren. So of the characters that we saw Kylo Ren, we saw Chewbacca, we saw some unnamed characters that I wasn't, in the moment familiar with exactly they were. We saw the Mandalorian with baby Grogu. Didn't see Luke or Leia or anybody like that. Who else did we see? Stormtroopers, some other stuff. But yeah, those are basically the characters that we saw when we were there. I don't know. Like I said earlier in this stream, I don't really know how they organize the characters or whatever, but they're pretty limited, and they're really not trying to engage too much with people. I think especially because of the fact that, like, they have them sort of scheduled to not, like, stay in one spot and end up with a big crowd around them, because the big crowd builds up around them, then nobody can take a picture or anything like that, and the big crowd just gets bigger and bigger, because the people that see the big crowd, they go, something's going on over there, then they go over there and then they stand in the big crowd. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So they try to keep them moving as much as possible, and I fully understand that, like, they're doing their best to mitigate that stuff. Frontierland was pretty cool. We went on the Pirates of the Caribbean. What else did we go on? We went on a riverboat. Or no, we didn't go on the Mark Twain riverboat. We went on a different riverboat ride. The Mark Twain riverboat, out of commission, was not there. The Frontierland shooting exposition, it's shooting tin cans, basically, with a thing. You guys have seen it at every fair. What else did we do? We did the Thunder Mountain Railroad. I didn't do the Thunder Mountain Railroad, but my sister and my mom's husband, they went over and went on it. Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess we could just go through the whole thing here, but it would be a long stream of just talking about having gone. Olivia really loved Fantasyland, to be expected. That is pretty much exactly all of the things that she really likes. Snow White, Pinocchio, the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, which we did that. We did the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, guys. And I don't know if it's something I'm necessarily going to review or anything like that, because it essentially is like a video of my daughter. So I have video that I'm going to make probably a family video out of, having gone to the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. But a quick explanation, it is fairly expensive. It is not a cheap thing. You have to book it ahead of time. You have to be there on time. And but I will say, I did not see a single little girl that, or boy. I actually saw a couple boys that had done it too. I didn't see a little kid that had done the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique that was having regrets. You know what I'm saying? They were stoked. They were all stoked. And it was amazing. And the one thing that I would almost implore Disneyland to do is figure out a boy presenting version of that, if that makes sense. The two boys that I saw, one was a grown man in a dress. The other one was a young boy who wanted to dress up like a princess. I don't know. You know, it's fine by me. I don't care. But something was brought up to me while we were there, was that it would be really cool if there was something for the boys. You could dress up as Han Solo or Prince Charming or whatever. I don't know. You know, they have billions of dollars. I'm sure they could figure it out. But it would be cool if there was something for the boys. I don't know. I don't have a son, so I don't know how much of a big stink I'm going to make about it, but it would be cool if there was something for the boys, you know what I mean? For the boys, you know, the boys.
Arthur?
What's that?
Arthur from the Black Cauldron, or
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of boy
Sword
characters that they could dress up as.
from Pete's Dragon.
They don't have a thing. So the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, I don't know if you're familiar. You go in and you have the fairy aunt. The fairy aunt makes you dresses them up like they're ready for the ball. So they get their hair done, they get their makeup done, they get a crown, they get a dress, they get shoes, they get all this stuff. They get all completely dolled up like a fairy princess, like the what is it, Cinderella?
Yes, that one was Cinderella.
Yeah, in Cinderella. So they get all dressed up, and I did not see a single kid that regretted having gotten that experience. They were over the fucking moon. Olivia was over the moon.
Didn't have that when we went, or we missed it. But Issy would have loved that.
Yeah, it's a separate thing that's inside the one of the castle. Sleeping Beauty's castle? I don't know. You and I have.
Yes, it is Sleeping Beauty.
You keep telling me it's Sleeping Beauty's castle. I don't know. All right. I closed the thing. Oh no, hold on. I got the thing here. Hold on. Fairy or Fantasyland. What is the fuck? What is that castle? Hold on. Let's look through. King Arthur Carousel. Alice in Wonderland. Matterhorn bobsleds. By the way, the Matterhorn bobsleds, I got to sit on the front. It was a pretty wild little ride, but also I couldn't help have the thought in my mind the whole time that this thing was built like in the 60s, and am I going to be the headline? You know, am I going to be the headline that this thing malfunctions? Because it's really clunky.
I've never ridden a bobsled that didn't have blaring 80s hair music coming out of the speakers. I don't know.
It's a Small World was closed, which is stupid because that was like the one ride that I really remember as a kid. And I wanted to go on that one with my sister, and they didn't have it. Like, okay, Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough. Okay, yeah, so it's got to be Sleeping Beauty's castle. Okay, so the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is in Sleeping Beauty's castle, in the bottom of it, off to the side. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, it's the Cinderella makeover essentially. But they get to pick whatever Disney princess they have there. Disney.
So that would be
Tiana,
Belle, or Mulan, or Cinderella, or Snow White, or Sleeping Beauty, or I can't remember the girl from the Princess and the Frog.
So the whole time, based on Princess Emma from the Frog Princess, the princess was born in the Brothers Grimm fairy tale. So Olivia wanted to be Princess Tiana from the Princess and the Frog. The whole time. That's who she wanted to be. She wanted to be Tiana. But then when she was there, she decided to go with... Hold on, which... She went with this. Oh, hold on, I'll show you. She went with Princess Isabella from Encanto, which makes sense because my little daughter is in love with flowers and stuff. She sees a flower, she's obsessed. So it makes sense. When she saw Isabella's dress, she was like, "Oh my God, Isabella! I gotta be Isabella for sure." Isabella's her favorite from Encanto. I don't know why. She's kind of a snob and she's bratty. So maybe my daughter's a snob and bratty. I don't know. Could be possible. But she did her Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique as Isabella Madrigal from Encanto, and yeah, it was pretty cute. And boy, howdy, was she excited, dude. She was pretty excited. Luke Wang's here. What's up, Luke? Nobody's chatting anymore. Alyssa says, did they do any Temple of Doom run from the giant stone sphere trap thing? Yes, that is in the ride. The stone sphere thing is in the Imbiamba Jones Temple of Doom. That big sphere rolling rock thing. It's in that ride. I won't spoil it for you, but I'm still here. So, dangers? Dangers? Maybe, but not really. I am a little disturbed by how often I Google a yes-no question only to be sent a YouTube video. Yeah, that is true. Factually accurate. Although it's weird because YouTube has become the biggest aggregator for answering questions. I remember reading that in an article recent, I don't know, a year ago or something like that. That YouTube is now the the biggest library of like basically to answer questions essentially.
Wikipedia must be crushed.
Well, there's less contributors to Wikipedia, so maybe they're thinking like on a contributor basis they're getting a higher percentage. I don't know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Pluto or Goofy?
What do you mean?
Stuck with a dog for the rest of your life. Which one's it going to be?
If I had to have one of them as a dog?
Sure.
Which well, Goofy can talk, right?
Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
He's like coherent. He's a human
And he
that
wears
looks like
pants.
a dog. What?
Yes. And he
So
wears pants.
I mean, I don't know that I want to have another human. That sounds like
Okay, fair
that
enough.
sounds like slavery, I think. I don't know.
I was thinking of the Stephen King story, where that's
What's-
a big discussion.
Oh.
Stand by Me.
Oh, and Stand By Me. Well, yeah, I mean, Goofy's just a person that looks like a dog, essentially, right? And Goofy's actually just, hold on.
Pluto.
Pluto is actually just a dog. Now, I will say, our experience with Pluto versus Goofy, Goofy was being very nice. But Pluto, on the other hand, went above and beyond to be nice to Olivia. And whether that has anything to do with anything, I don't know. But that was our experience. Pluto was super, super nice to Olivia. Goofy was just basically getting pictures taken with him. But Pluto was wilding out. He basically jumped in a window while we were on one of those trains to interact with Olivia and give her high fives and all that stuff. And he was being very, very cool to Olivia. So, shout out to whoever plays Pluto. I mean, the guy's
Pretty
going
awesome.
wild, or maybe it's a girl. I don't know. I couldn't tell.
That's good. It's always cool when the characters do little stuff like that. That was, I think I mentioned that in Discord. That as an adult watching the kids interact with the characters, I always felt like I wanted them to be able to have something a little more special than surrounded by people after standing in line.
Yeah.
Even more so than Santa every year, because that eventually sort of fades. But something about the Disney characters never does. Unfortunately, as demonstrated by 40-year-old people.
Yeah, the
standing
weird
in line
adults,
for-
the weird Disney
Yeah.
adults. Oh my God, so
Exactly.
weird.
But
Justin Woody has a good point. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, definitely the scariest ride there. Agreed. And for reason number one would be waiting in line for like 45 minutes, and then Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is broken again, and you just gotta go away. Which, by the way, is probably the scariest thing. Now, one thing that I wanted to talk about near the end of the live stream here, so that I didn't like bombard people at the beginning of it, is if you were someone that wanted to sit down and design a place that would make me feel, I guess, triggered, I guess, anxious, I guess, irritated, I guess, I don't know, all of those kind of emotions, all of those feelings, you probably couldn't do a better job than designing Disneyland. Right? And now, the reasoning that I want to explain my thought process behind this is that the crowds of people that are just like aimless, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know where they're going, they only have some manners, right? It bothers me. It really does. Just the sea of humanity moving around.
Yep.
Chomping on stuff, spitting on the ground, doing this, doing that. It bothers me to no end. And I was thinking about it, that like if you were to design a place that was crazier than Disneyland, immediately it would start to alleviate some of that emotion that I have inside me of like the anxiety or what, I don't even know what you want to call it. I'm just uncomfortable, right? Like I'm like, ugh, God. Because if you, like, for instance, made the floor lava, now all of a sudden, all of these irritating people aren't my problem anymore because most of them would just fall in the lava. And I'd be like, holy shit, this is a crazy game. I gotta gamify the hell out of this and figure out how to not fall in the lava. This sounds exciting. Now this has a thrill. If you were to, like, I don't know, put a contagion in the air, I would just throw a mask on and be like, all right, dude, let's fucking do this shit. Like, it's all good. If, once you would start to add all of these, like, crazy elements to this design of I'm going to make Joel uncomfortable, it would start to eliminate a bunch of the crowd. So then, suddenly, I would be less irritated and less anxious and less whatever. Because now the lines are short because there's airborne Ebola. All right, let's do this, So I think if you were to really design something that couldn't irritate me, that could irritate me more, like I said, it would start to take away some of the things that make me so irritated, like the crazy high prices, right? Like, if you elevate the price to $1,000 a day or something, now a bunch of people can't go. Oh, well, I guess we're paying $1,000 for 1 day instead of 3 days, right? And then so we'd go for 1 day and a bunch of the crowd wouldn't be there and I'd suddenly be a little bit of alleviated from all of the stress and things that irritate the hell out of me, like standing in line for an hour. I feel fucking useless when standing in line. When I start to feel useless, I start to get fucking grouchy, or maybe not even grouchy is not the word, but I start to feel like I should be doing something, right? I have an overwhelming feeling that, like, I am wasting my time. Things aren't getting done. Oh my God, I gotta do something. Vicky is the same way. And then the two of us get going. It is irritating between the two of us, right? And so, like I said, if you were to design a place that would make me feel more irritated, I don't think it's possible. I really don't think it's possible. Now, that being said, still had a great time, mainly because Olivia was just having a blast. She was having a good time. It was amazing, and it's something that's, like I said, going to stick with her for the rest of her life. Would I do it again in a couple years? Maybe. That's a maybe, because I wouldn't say no, because it might be a good idea when she's 8. I don't know. It might be a good idea when she's 9. It might be a good idea when she's 12 or 13 and just almost to the point of, like, not wanting to care about what mom and dad think anymore and we want to do one last trip. I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to say. Will it be financially viable? I don't know, man. It was a lot of money. Admittedly, Vicky and myself, we saved up. Grandpa and Grandma paid for a bunch of a big portion of it. Like, they paid for the airfare and the hotel. So, things kind of broke down to be, like, not that bad. It wasn't just like Vicky and I took her and incurred all of these costs. So it wasn't the savage gut punch that you would kind of imagine, having spent, if you had to spend like $1,500 on airfare, $1,600 on a hotel, a couple $100 on a rental car, $2,000 on tickets, then all of the food and drinks and stuffed animals and the animal ears and all this crap that you buy. It definitely was mitigated by family absorbing a bunch of the costs and stuff like that. So, I don't know if in 5 years my mom gets a wild hair and says we want to go back again or something and let's try to work it out. But chances are with my mom, she'll be like, we should go to Italy instead, or I don't know, Timbuktu. I don't know, Mexico, something. I don't know. She'll probably want to go somewhere else. So, you know, would I go back? I don't know. It's hard to say. But if the opportunity is there and it's something that is viable, I probably would, just for the sake of it was more enjoyable than being at work at the factory, right? So, you know.
I think the biggest trigger for me when we took my kiddo was all those factors that you're talking about. The fact that it's all done in the name of making the kiddo happy, and they're doing everything they can to fleece your pocket in the name of your kiddo.
Right.
It just drove me nuts. I mean,
Oh, dude,
I
they are
wanted it to be a great
hammering.
experience.
They are literally hammering money out of your wallet. You
Yeah,
know, the whole time
exactly.
you're there, and it is brutal. I mean, you know, it's $40 for food over here. It's $30 for or four. I think the Mickey Mouse ears were like $35 or something. I don't know. It was crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and then you go to dinner and that's $100, and then you go over here and this is $30, and then this is $20, and that's, you know, when you add it all up by the end of it, it's like, oh my God, you know, like it's a lot of money, and that is obviously a stressor. You know, and like I mentioned, you know, I haven't made like that big of a stink about it on the internet, but I don't work for the aquarium co-op anymore, so I am unemployed. So obviously money is a bit of a stressor right now. But like I said, we'd already paid for the majority of the stuff ahead of time, and you know, getting a refund probably is just non-existent. So the better thing to do was to just go ahead, do the trip, get the experience, and go, because she's only going to be 5 once. She's only going to be 5 once, and jobs come and go, things come and go, and money comes and goes. Whatever, all that shit, whatever
And the
that
fact that
stressor
you got
is.
to do it as a whole family is awesome.
Yeah,
So.
you know, that's the thing. Like my mom got to go with her granddaughter, and you know, like that's a big deal. Like my mom turned 70 this year, and for her to, Olivia's her only grandchild. My sister decided to not have kids. Still doesn't want kids, right? Just one of those people. I was like, I never really wanted kids. I was always of the opinion that like I should adopt kids because I would rather solve a solution, or I would rather be the solution to a problem than create a new problem, right? Which was my opinion, but also I was never in a position to adopt children because I was never that stable of a human in that way. So, the fuck, all the windows closed. Oh my God, all my windows closed. Hold on. There we go. It's because I wiggled the thing around and then Windows gets weird. I was never really in a position to adopt any kids because I didn't like own a house or any of that kind of stuff. I was never in that spot. And the relationships I had over the years, none of them really panned into me having a kid. Admittedly, probably TMI, too much information for you all, but I was only ever really in one relationship previous to Victoria that I had the inclination that like, oh, I might have kids with this human. And so I was never really in that mindset of like, I should have kids or whatever. Now, obviously, Vicky and I have a kid. We have a glorious daughter who is amazing, and we love her so mucho. And it's all good. She's a healthy young 5-year-old. And it's great. We were planning on having another kid. We were planning on having another child other than Olivia. But Vicky got cancer, and that just threw that right the fuck out the window. You know, so we only have one kid. We had no possibility to have another one. And she's only going to be 5 this one time. This one time was going to be her 5th birthday, and that was going to be it. And if we didn't capitalize on making that the best, she's only going to be 5 this one time. So then we'd be trying to make up for it on the 6th birthday, or make up for it on the 7th birthday, or make up for it. And that time will have already passed, and you won't be able to get a time machine and go back and do it. So I believe wholeheartedly it was the right thing to do, and I wouldn't have made a different decision. And like I said earlier in the stream, if it came down to somebody having to stay here to watch the dogs, take care of the house, watch the chickens, and maintain all that stuff, I would have been the one to stay. And the reason for that is that Grandma and Grandpa, my mom is 70. The expectation of her living, 20 more years, right? If everything goes well, she lives another 20 years. Olivia will be 25 by then. The chances of my mom seeing Olivia like fully grown into a full-on human and being with it and aware or whatever are going to diminish with time. We just went to Olivia's great grandma's 96th birthday. So it certainly is a thing that can happen, but all of her other great grandparents are all dead, long dead. Weren't even alive when she was born. That's how dead they are. So, if it comes down to Grandma and Grandpa not being on that trip, or like Grandma or Grandpa not being on that trip, that's crazy. This isn't even their house. This isn't their animals. This isn't their responsibility. When it comes down to me or Vicky not being at Disneyland with Olivia, I wholeheartedly believe if Vicky wasn't there, it would have ruined that experience for Olivia, realistically. So if somebody had to bite the bullet and stay home and take care of our animals and take care of our house and all that stuff, it would have been me. And I would... What's that?
But yay that it wasn't.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it wasn't, but yeah.
This is prime daddy age.
Well,
for little girls.
Prime daddy age exists forever, okay?
I know. Well, yes.
So when it comes down to somebody like myself, aka coolest dad ever, right?
Oh, sorry, my bad. That's
coolest dad ever, thank you very much. Mm-hmm. And I would wager hey, you gifted 10 new members to the channel here today, so I would say that you agree with me also.
That you're the coolest dad ever? Sure.
Coolest dad ever. Cool dad. Okay, maybe not as cool as Dave Coulier, but
oh no, much cooler than Dave Coulier.
Or John Stamos, but I'm up there. The thing is, I don't think that Olivia is going to feel the ire with me the entirety of her life. Does that make sense?
It does.
There will definitely come a time where it's like, oh, Dad's just cool, Dad. I just go do stuff with Dad. And there'll be all this animosity between her and her mom. And that will likely happen around 10, around age 10 or something like that, right? Because the reality will set in that Dad's outside running a chainsaw and she's more than welcome to come along. Dad's outside doing this, doing that. We go going on hikes. I laugh when things catch on fire. You know what I'm saying? And all that will happen at some age. Like there'll be a shift where it's like, oh, Dad's the best. Don't worry about it. Mom's always mad. She's always yelling at me about something. Right. And that'll come with time. And, but if we're who's the favorite parent, it is 100% Vicky at this point. Like Mom is the bee's knees for Olivia, for sure. You know, like that's the reality. That's just how it is. That's just how it's worked out. She loves her mom and relies on her mom for a lot of stuff. So, yeah, and there's just no way if it had been me go and Vicky stay here, it would have been 3 days of crying, asking about mom, being upset that mom wasn't there, you know. And I think a portion of that stems from Vicky having cancer, Vicky going through surgery, explaining to her that, you know, that her mom had a likelihood of dying, right? So I think that that part of that stems from that. Like, I think that a portion of that exists in her head and will probably exist in her head for a long time until she can sort of actively deal with that thought in a way like more adults do, you know. And you know, the weird thing is, like, I caught myself crying the other day because I was talking with my mom, and just all the people that had died this year. I was, for whatever reason, the conversation we were talking about. I lost a lot of friends this year. A lot of friends that shouldn't have died, you know, just simply from the statistical numbers game, right? Of like, you know, people aren't supposed to die when they're 45. You know, people aren't supposed to die when they're 52. You know, people aren't supposed to die when they're 36. You know, people aren't supposed to die on their 22nd birthday, you know, stuff like that. They just aren't statistically supposed to. I don't claim to have any kind of supernatural knowledge or anything like that, but if we're talking about statistics, statistically speaking, those people shouldn't be gone. But I caught myself really kind of teary-eyed crying, talking about some of the people that I talked to on their deathbed. And I will say this, man, none of them, not a single goddamn one of those people brought up, boy, I should have invested in this. Boy, I should have worked overtime at the fucking whatever stupid job. Boy, I should have blah, blah, blah. Nope. Nope. Every single one of them, every single time, are, I should have spent more time with my family. I should have spent more time with my kids. I should have spent more time staring at a sunset. I should have spent more time chilling at the pool. I should have spent more time, you know, and the list goes on. And fucking work never shows up in any of those conversations. Everything that shows up is experiences and relationships with other people, because that's the evolutionary trait that has led to humanity being able to exist as long as it has. Community, working together, like understanding other people's needs, being able to help with those needs, being able to complement each other's needs, all that stuff. The coordinated response of humanity is what has allowed us to exist this long. And I heard somebody put it in a interesting way a while ago, is that if a lion is hunting after zebras or antelope or chimpanzees or apes, gorillas, any of that stuff, they'll find the weak one and they'll remove them from that group. And they remove them with their teeth by chomping them up and eating them, right? And the one thing that has allowed humanity to reach the pinnacle of where we're at right now is that if a lion shows up, we don't let the lion take the weakest one of us. We all turn around as a group and defend the group as a whole, right? And all of those things sort of bouncing around in my head emotionally, and just thinking about, You know, the last conversation I had with Dave. You know, the last conversation I had with Rob. You know, the last conversation I had with Jeff. The last conversation I had with John. The last conversation I had with all of these other people. I can just keep going down this stupid fucking list that's way too long, by the way. And none of those people ever brought up at the end that, oh, you know what I should have done? A bunch of stupid work for some asshole sitting in their office bitching about TPS reports or Excel spreadsheets or performance reviews or any of this fucking bullshit, right? None of those people ever talked to me about performance reviews that they got from an Amazon micromanager, right? No one has ever brought that up. That, boy howdy, I sure could have scored in the 97th percentile in my performance review, and if only I had a time machine, I could go back and work fucking super hard for Bezos, right? No, it's never been brought up. And all of that stuff, and thinking about this Disney trip in conjunction with the fact that, like, potentially, and I say this with abject hope in my heart, that Olivia's going to live to, like, probably 100 years old, considering the technology and advancements and healthcare and all that, that over the next 95 years, she's not going to be carrying around a level of negativity or regrets or anything like that, and hopefully will be a contributor to that group, that community group of humans that won't allow the lion to remove the weak one from the herd, right? And I don't know, like, I don't know a better way to have expressed that on her 5th birthday, right? I don't. You know, I just don't.
Make it joy.
Yeah. And like I said, like, I've talked about this before. When I was a kid, we would go to my great-grandparents' house because my great-grandparents had a house that was really close to Disneyland. They moved there when there was no Disneyland. California was just a state, you know. I don't even know if Hollywood probably didn't even exist when they moved there. My great-grandparents lived a long time. My great-grandpa was 93 when he died in 1995. Yeah. And I know that he moved out there in his early 20s. Yeah, so Hollywood wasn't even like a thing, I don't think, by that point. He moved to California because he was just a blue-collar guy looking for something to do, you know, something to occupy his hands. And so when I say that, my great-grandparents lived there forever. When my mom, Olivia's grandma, was a kid, they obviously would go to Grandma and Grandpa's house, and they would go to Disneyland. So it has been multiple generations now, from my great-grandparents to my grandparents to my mom to me and now to Olivia, that we all had that kid experience of going to Disneyland, Mickey Mouse, whatever, you know. And so I think that's a thing of continuity that is kind of admirable, considering that place has been able to be there for, 70, 80 years now or something like that. It's a long time.
Yeah. Really awesome.
When did Disneyland open? Let's check that out. When did Disneyland open?
Late 40s, early 50s.
Oh, July 17th. And what was your guess?
I said late 40s, early 50s. I wasn't specific.
I know, but you had a guess. It was a guesstimate. A guesstimate. You had a guesstimate. I've got an actual date here.
All right.
July 17th, 1955.
Woohoo!
which is crazy to think because like how do we subtract 70 from 2023? So 1950,
Yeah.
right? So 1950 was my mom born in 1950? No, my mom wasn't born in 1950. I'm an idiot.
Okay.
My mom was born in 1953. Okay. So they started going when my mom was a little kid. Right?
Yeah.
Because if she started going in the 50s when she was probably like 5 or 4 or whatever, you know, that's Disneyland had been open for a year or two or whatever. So it's kind of crazy because mom can actually tell you like what Disneyland was like, you know, back in the day.
Easy.
And
They would have had at that stage Mickey and Snow White was the first of the colorized movies.
so here we go. I've got a preview of what Disneyland used to look like. Check this out. So, after one full year of rigorous construction demands and a total investment of $17 million, the gates of Disneyland first opened Sunday, July 17th, 1955. Look like this. The mouse is still there. It's different. It's on a hill now, though. They've built a hill here, but this train station is still there. I have a picture of it.
Oh, cool.
There's some mermaids down here. Look at these mermaids. What are they up to? Hey, you mermaids, what are you doing?
There's a 40-year-old guy that would like his picture taken with this lady.
Yeah, hey. I'm going to take some pictures with you, mermaid. What's up? So there's some of the original passes. Is that Ronald Reagan?
He would have been an
Yep.
actor at the stage.
Yep, Ronald Reagan, the actor. The actor, Ronald Reagan. Art Linkletter, Ronald Reagan, and Bob Cummings. Okay, here's some colorized pictures.
Oh, it looks fleshy.
There we go. Ooh. Fantasyland and Tomorrowland on Main Street. It looks different. I'll say it looks different. The teacups. We rode the teacups, by the way. We did ride these teacups. And I don't know if they're exactly the same teacups, but they look very similar. Okay, there's here's the trains. This train station is still there. But there's like a big hill here now, and you come in from this side as opposed to the other way around. Because the park goes back here now. That's a long line. So they started out with the long lines. Look at this.
Yeah, as I said, look at that parking lot even then.
Only 11,000 people were expected to show up, but by mid-afternoon, over 28,000 ticket holders were heading for Disneyland, causing unprecedented traffic jams. Yeah, so this is what it was like when my mom was there. One of these people might have. Well, actually, my mom was probably only 2 at the time, right? Didn't we do the math? So this could have been one of my uncles. That could be my uncle right there. It's not, I don't think it
Running
is,
off
but
into the pool.
yeah. Into the abyss. But yeah, you know, so it's exciting. It was interesting. Growing up in Central Florida, I know a lot of negative things about Disney and yet still support families going to Disney World Land. I don't romanticize the corporation, but I'm glad for the families. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that like I have some critiques for sure. One of them being like the cost and the fact that they're extracting money out of you, like Rebecca mentioned earlier, that they are frankly extracting money out of you. They really are, and they are pushing it to the limit. I mean, they're full throttle, pedal to the metal, extracting money. They are a corporation that boy howdy, do I have a lot of criticisms of the corporate entity itself, and how it operates. And one of the things that I could make note on that was it kept coming up while I was there, that I kept thinking, how much are people getting paid to do this? Because Disneyland itself has sort of they have the carpet bomb mentality of carpet bombing employees everywhere. Like I said, I didn't meet somebody who was unhelpful or unaccommodating or in a bad mood necessarily, but they really do focus on the carpet bombing of workers, right? There are a lot of people around just constantly kind of doing stuff, and I think that ultimately, in my mind, is a big giant problem, because I went to look it up, and I know I probably shouldn't have, but I went to look up like how much people are making working there, and the wages are not good, the compensation is not good, and that's just from the worker standpoint, like people working at the theme park, right? The average wage was $17 an hour to live in Orange County, bro. Like, that's buck wild. And by the way, that's the median, right? That takes the high wage and the low wage and averages it out into a $17, which means there are a lot of people there making $12 an hour or whatever. And that's brutal, because some of the highest earners in the park I noticed were Tinkerbell, apparently. And most, like, Disney princesses are pretty high on the list. And they're only making like $60,000 a year. And that ain't great. To live in Orange County. I mean, they probably have to live like at least an hour away from the park, which means they have a big commute. They have this big responsibility to be like this perfect employee and this perfect person on and off the clock and all that stuff. And it seems like a lot. They're asking for a lot, and they don't seem to be putting out a lot. Because, like, how much did Disney make last year? Jesus Christ.
Park or the corporation?
Disney annual revenue for 2022 was $82.7 billion. A 22% increase from 2021. Okay, so maybe that's COVID. But here's what's interesting. 2019, they made $67 billion. So they're actually making, in revenue, straight revenue, which, isn't profit, but they're processing $88 billion in profit.
Says that according to Wednesday's filing, this is last month, the theme park segment had more than $24 billion in overall revenue for the first 9 months of 2023.
Oh, really?
Yeah, here's CNBC article. Let's see. Yahoo or YouTube.
Luke Wang says the California minimum wage is $15 currently. Yes. So in Orange County, the current minimum wage is $15.50 an hour. But what ends up happening is you have to look up the fancy 1099 independent contractor. So a lot of the people that work as 1099s, the independent contractors, when you average out what they're actually making, it comes out to lower that cost. And hold on, I have to look this up, figure out what it is. Orange County under 18 wage rate. So I got to figure out how much it is for because most states have a lower wage that they can pay to people that are under 18. Oh, okay. So California doesn't have that exemption, but that's crazy because so the numbers I was looking at were from 2022. So that means that there was enough people working at Disneyland making $14 an hour from 2022 because 2023 hasn't ended yet. So 2023 hasn't ended yet, so I almost guarantee the numbers I was looking at were from 2022 at minimum or 2021, right? Because the minimum wage in California, and here, I'll show you what I'm looking at, just so you guys know what I'm talking about. So in Washington and a lot of other states, I think Washington got rid of this a while ago with our new wage that we voted for. Looks like this. It's similar to this. It's different, but it's very similar. That every year it's been going up in the state. But for a long time, if you're under 18 or if you're 15 or 14, you can actually pay below the minimum wage because technically you're like teaching them a valuable whatever. You know, it's very interesting and very weird. But seems that California doesn't have that. So I think they've gotten rid of that via question 4 right here. They don't have that because of the new civil code, section 1668 and 3513, which those are, I have to go look them up, but I believe that they're attached to this exact same deal from 2017. But it started at 10. It went to 1050, it went to 11, went to 12, went to 13, went to 14. So the ultimate problem there is, and one of the reasons I would have a problem with the corporate pay, right, is first off, those numbers are probably super low because they're from 2020, 21, 22 at minimum, right, or at maximum. That there were enough 14 an hour or 13 an hour or $12 an hour people that are driving that number all the way down to 17, right, even from the people that are making more, right? So that's pretty wild. And if that number was from 2023, it's even crazier if the minimum is $15.50. And it obviously is $15.50 because they have more than 26 employees, right? So that's even crazier. It would drive it that far down. It probably means that there's that many low-wage workers. But it's not out of the realm that there were people in 2020 making $12 an hour. It's kind of my point. But the only reason that they're paying $12 an hour is because they have to, right? They're forced to. We had to create laws in order to protect workers, right? Which is my reasoning for advocating for voting and doing that stuff. Now, not all cast members are W-2 employees, right? So a lot of actors and a lot of people that are For instance, I was reading the story about the contract with Tinkerbell. So Tinkerbell essentially comes in and they do this fireworks display thing, and then Tinkerbell rides this rope across, and it takes like 30 seconds or something. She flies across. She gets paid like $500. So there were a lot of like weird Republican freak show psychos that got a hold of that story that like, oh, it's $500 for 30 seconds to work, and they start screeching into the void about how, like, how could anybody complain about making $500 in 30 seconds? And you're like, okay, first off, there's a shitload of training, there's a shitload of safety protocols and all that kind of stuff that has to go into that. Not only being able to do it, but also being the right size to do it, the right looking like Tinkerbell, blah, blah, blah. But all of the other background stuff that you have to pass to be representing Tinkerbell for the Disney Corporation, right, is pretty astronomical. To only make like $500 a day, if let's say that she does it 7 days a week, but she doesn't do it 7 days a week in perpetuity. There's 2 of them, and there's only 7 days in the week. So does one only get to do two a week, and one does 5, or do they split it 3 and 4? Well, they most likely split it 3 and 4 for some modicum of fairness, right? So one of them is making $1,500 a week. One of them is making $2,000 a week for probably a lot of preparation and constantly being ready to go to do that and be there all the time, right? And there probably is like additional responsibilities to that job. I would guess that there's public appearances, there's this, there's that, the other thing. Either way, whatever. The point is that somebody like that is 99% of the time a contractor, independent contractor, a 1099 person. They don't have to pay, which means you don't have to pay benefits. You don't have to pay the taxes on any of that stuff, blah, blah, blah. It is a big, giant loophole that a lot of corporations utilize on a regular basis. A little while ago, Microsoft was sued for that. Microsoft 1099 lawsuit. See if I can't find this.
Interestingly, entertainment, hourly, management, and salary employees do not have union representation.
Right. Mm-hmm. They're not allowed to. I mean, you imagine Disney is going to let a union get into the park. I don't think it's going to happen. Where was this? So this settlement case, was it Vizcaino versus Microsoft Corp? Yeah, this is one of them. And then I think this is the main one. But there's a giant settlement to this that Microsoft was essentially abusing the independent contractor situation that they were doing. Now, this case only was a settlement of $97 million. But it's just an example of just one of this case. There's many other of them that have gone on. And I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not talking about law or any of that kind of shit. But that's the reality of how a lot of the businesses get by with the pretty low rates and stuff like that. So as far as I know, that the cast members that like the So a good example was I actually talked to somebody who was a train operator. They're somebody who just is on the trolley, and they didn't get paid that much. I didn't ask how much they got paid, but they were a high school student, and they only worked like 3 nights a week for like a 5-hour shift or something like that, 5 or a 6-hour shift. So they're only working like 18, 20 hours a week or whatever. And that's how a lot of corporations get around it also too, is that like if you have a ton of employees and you only schedule them for 18 hours a week, or I forget what the minimum is. It might be 24 or 26 to be considered a full-time employee. So you have a bunch of people who are just under the line where they don't have to offer benefits or anything like that. And this is kind of interesting. The estimated total pay for a cast member at Disney parks is $31,879 a year. They're making $32,000 a year. Yeah, so it's pretty brutal. Yeah, the top end. This is hourly pay at Walt Disney Company ranges from an average of $15.61 to $46.82 an hour. But the one that I thought was really interesting, it was the Disney princesses. So there's the highest earner on the high end. There are Disney princesses that earn $126,000 per year, while the majority of Disney princesses make a salary that ranges between $16,000 and $83,000. Which averages apparently out to about that 60,000 number. When you get down to it. How much does Mickey Mouse make at Disney World? The estimated base pay for Disney or for Mickey is $49,000 a year. It's buck wild. So when you talk about like criticisms that I have for the company, it's a corporation that's meant to extract money from people and all of the evils that come along with that. So that's almost all of the criticism I have for it. Like the corporate structuring of or the structuring of corporations in the United States is abysmal as far as I'm concerned. There are so many improvements that need to be made. A perfect example, like Rebecca said, would be a union to represent the workers at every corporation. Like raising up the rate at which American workers are represented by a union is wildly important, in my opinion, and I think is one of the things that we should be focusing on as an average worker guy myself. We should all be focusing on that to get better accommodation, because people are complaining about inflation. People are complaining about the cost of housing. People are complaining about the cost of everything, realistically. And the one thing that hasn't gone up is wages in the U.S. That's the thing that hasn't gone up. The cost for everything has gone up, from healthcare to housing to transportation. All that stuff has gone up consistently. Corporate profits have gone way up also. So they're actually making more money, charging more money, and they're not giving it back to their workforce. And I think that's abysmal, and certainly need to see a change in the future. This year, we saw a bunch of labor, we saw a bunch of strikes, and we saw a bunch of things changing, like UPS, for instance. UPS striking, getting more money for all their part-time workers, because that's something that UPS has done for a long time. The package handlers are only work 22 hours a week, I think. I think they can only work like a 5.5 hour shift. When you take a package handler job, you are committing to a 5-hour shift, 5 days a week. That's it. Because people get injured so much. And that's one of the things that they were doing, is that they go, oh, well, these people are all part-time, so they don't fall under the contract. And that's one of the reasons why the UPS was threatening to go on strike or striking, and they seem to have gotten the deal for the part-time workers also, which is pretty important as far as I'm concerned. And that level of solidarity is what we probably need to see more and more in the U.S. Politically, we can all argue, but with solidarity, we're going to make it better for everybody. So hopefully we see more of that in the future. It is 4:30, which is a half an hour longer than I'm supposed to be streaming, but that means that it was just bonus time, you guys. It was bonus time to stream. I'm going to try to stream again this week at some point. I will put up the event, and we'll figure it out. But we'll probably stream again this week. I do have some short videos coming out this week, so stay tuned for that shit. Share it out with your grandma. Send it out to whoever. You got to share it, okay? You got to share it, all right?
Go home.
Oh, God, dog attack. There is a new dog here in my house. The dog's name is Lola. If any of you remember that, I will be shocked. But there's a third dog here now. So welcome to the family, Lola. And hope you guys have a fantastic week. Season. But moving on, upward, onward, off into the great wide whatever thing of the thing with the stuff. Oh, God, did the music play? Hold on. Did this work? Oh.